I'm Dr. Padilla from Thanatology, and you are listening to Junkyard Show on Metal Messiah Radio.
Welcome, Dr. Padilla, to the Junkyard Show and Metal Messiah Radio.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time and be here. I'm extremely one of the fans here in Saltillo, Mexico of Thanatology. So I'm very happy to have you here.
That's cool. That makes me happy.
So how you started to get into the world of music, specifically into metal?
Well, I guess I got into the world of music when I was rather young. I used to listen to a lot of, like music soundtracks for, movies and video games as well. I didn't really have a lot of access to a lot of different kinds of music because my parents were a little overprotective. They kind of censored a lot. I had I had this one story where I was like 8 years old and I was listening to the Slim Shady EP from Eminem when it came out, and my mom walked in and we got into like a huge fight about it. It was really it was super fucked up.
I can imagine her face.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, what are you going to be, a gangster now?" and all this stuff. And I was like, "What are you talking about? This is it's funny." At that age, that music was, catchy and funny and stuff. So
yeah.
But when I got into middle school and early high school, that's when I was exposed to different kinds of music through a few friends. This close friend of mine, this awesome Korean student who transferred to the U.S. His name was Sejin. He showed me a lot of awesome stuff. At least for back in the day, easy stuff like Marilyn Manson. And then I had friends who showed me Led Zeppelin and Iron Maiden and whatnot. Those are really awesome bands, and then I definitely went off the deep end afterwards because I met a few friends in high school. One of the guitarists for this really well-known hardcore band now called Take Offense, he showed me bands like Emperor, Nile, and Behemoth, and In Flames, and so after that I was able to find bands like Morbid Angel and Carcass, and just kind of keep going and the more I looked into metal online, the more stuff I found. I found awesome bands like Cynic and Death and Atheist that really, those three bands absolutely just plunged me into wanting to make music. And after I listened to them, I cared about nothing except for writing that sort of music and practicing and listening as much as possible to the progressive kind of death metal style is what I found myself stuck into. So after that, it just kind of went into history. I started getting into all different types of metal and music now, and then I ended up in Thanatology. So
nice. From Eminem to Emperor, and then some grand stuff. Nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting transition. Definitely the first time I opened up about it in a public platform, but
very public
definitely happened that way. Yeah.
So, okay, now you started listening to the music, listening to different kinds of music. And when did you find out you wanted to play guitar? When did you discover that?
I was actually started playing an instrument kind of late in my life. I received a guitar from, I was in this brutal death metal band called Gortuary at the time, and we had just recorded a CD, and my bass player offered me a guitar in form of payment for the financial portion of the recording, which I took because I had wanted to play guitar for a while, but I was always too afraid. I never thought it'd amount to anything, or fingers didn't work that way. I gave myself a million reasons to. So he gave me the CD and the guitar, and I started playing some simple stuff. I started off with some hardcore punk songs. I started off playing some easier black metal songs as well, just to have fun and enjoy the instrument. And then I really got into the band Death for lyrical purposes, and obviously their music is very special to a lot of people, and I'm one of those people. So once I really got into that band, Oh, good. Yeah, it's one of the best bands ever. It's a really good band for anyone who wants to start playing like more aggressive music. The rhythm stuff is intricate, but not super hard, and not something that anyone with passion can't pick up. So I really just started learning as many death songs as I could. I also got some Carcass and Emperor stuff in there too, because they're some of my favorite bands, and various other covers. I would just kind of just sit there and I just kind of taught myself. The other guitarist from Gortuary, Glenn Davis, was a huge influence on my guitar playing as well. I used to sit and watch him and just absorb all his information that he was putting out there to me. San Diego has a lot of really good guitarists, so there was definitely a lot of influence just within the local scene. Ed Talorda from Disgorge, his stage presence is something I still like try to achieve. Even the other guitarists from Gortuary, Andresi's amazing shred king. There's this gentleman named Lorenzo from a band called Temblad that's from here that if you've never checked out, please check out. They're amazing local band. The talent is endless. So seeing all that stuff, plus my love for progressive death metal like Death, really just made me be like, hey, maybe I can do what they do. And, I put in the time and the effort, and now I'm kind of getting there.
Nice. So now you're here, doing amazing music.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy that I ended up where I'm at. It's I never thought that I love grind a lot, but I never thought I'd play full time in a successful grind. Well, a band that's getting some success, anyways. It's really interesting that it turned out this way, and I'm actually pretty stoked because the music is super fun.
Yeah. So getting more into Thanatology, Thanatology started as a two-man band around 2009, right?
Actually, the band it had started as another band in 1998, a long time ago, under the band name Cadaver. It was like a full band. They kind of did some more amateur level stuff, with a few live appearances up until 2002. After the fact, that's when Dr. Batista and Dr. Picos turned it into more of a two-man studio project, where they basically just wrote and record, and Jonas came up with a lot of the the concepts that you see now in front of you of the surgeons and whatnot. So and then after the fact, until about 2014, 2015, that's when the band started heavily doing live performances and recruiting a full live band versus just the two-man kind of setup.
So that's when you join it to the band.
I actually didn't join the band up until I'm the newest guy, so I joined up in at the end of last year. I was I had previously talked to them in 2015 about filling in for the bass. It seemed really intriguing. I always thought the costumes looked really awesome, and the music was fun, and the guys I always thought were really cool as well. So I was like, yeah, this sounds like something I would really like to do. However, my obligations with Word Memory and some other projects kind of let that fall by the wayside. And then, let's see, fast forward to the end of 2017, I went to go see Cattle Decapitation at the Brick by Brick, which is a local venue in San Diego for metal. And I watched, went there to be early so I could watch Thanatology, and I just felt this awesome magic on stage. The music was so awesome and fun and aggressive, and Jonas's stage presence was, mesmerizing. I think he actually blew me a kiss on stage, which is super funny because he's this big, imposing, kind of surgeon on stage, like blowing me some affection. It was pretty funny, and I saw Dan's stage presence as well, the bass player. Just those two guys really just drew me in. And then watching Mario just give like the assault on guitar by himself, it was super inspiring. And I just thought, man, I would love to be on stage with these musicians, not only for my own for my own fun and everything, but to bring a little bit more of a full sound to the live performances, because two guitars always sound super brutal compared to just one. So so after that, I contacted Jonas at the show, and I talked to Mario afterwards, and I said, hey, like, what would you guys think about having a second guitar player? They seemed enthusiastic about it, and they had told me that, they had actually had me in mind to fill in on second guitar. So it seemed to work out. I learned the Clinica EP within a week, and I went to go, try out, and after that, it was a set deal. It's been awesome.
Nice. So it's been like you being first like a fan and then now a member of this band. So
Yeah, it's a pretty cool like experience. I mean, we did do a small tour in 2016 where we did about 4 dates, I think, and so that's when I got to hang out with them more often, and it was totally cool, like seeing how they worked. Thanatology works like a machine, so it was really, really inspiring to see them, and now be with them is even cooler.
nice. So please introduce to all of the metalheads the doctors of thanatology.
Okay, doke. We have Dr. Bautista. He is a lead vocalist, and he handles all the concepts and lyrics. We have Dr. Mosqueda. He's in charge of guitars, writes a lot of the samples, and does a lot of the songwriting as well. We have Dr. Morales on bass, and then we have Dr. Murillo on drums.
Okay, and for the new followers, can you tell us why all of you wear your doctor's outfits? Are you actually doctors?
The general consensus as to why we wear them on stage is, we're essentially trying to bring a dramatized form of doctors' experiences in the operating room to the stage for people to experience, like in the musical form. Dr. Batista is the only true surgeon in the band, and we just basically really want the audience to experience the drama and the terror of being a patient underneath a doctor that is performing horrendous medical procedures on somebody, or has in the past. The uniforms obviously are indicative of that. They're very menacing, they're terrifying on stage, and which is very fascinating to people who are into death metal and grindcore, because we all have that very heightened sense of morbid enjoyment. So, I think that's why it resonates with a lot of people, and that's why we wear them on stage.
Yeah, it's totally crazy. I mean, even if I've just watched some videos in YouTube, I really like all the performance and all the attitude you guys have on stage. And adding the outfits, it's just like blows my mind for real. Just like I want to see them live, but you guys need to come over here. So
Yeah, definitely. We're, one thing I will say is that our last Mexico tour left us wanting a lot more of Mexico. So don't be surprised if Thanatology plays a million Mexico shows this year and next year. We're definitely trying to get into as many cities as we can.
the band it's based in Tijuana, to let everyone know. And how hard is for you to meet all the guys, to have rehearsals and concerts, and adding that you also have another music projects like Lyric Memory?
It's it's been a weird situation, crossing back and forth. It's been about, like I said, 8 months or so. And when I first started going over there, it was really difficult because I'd just try to walk across, crossing back to the United States in a vehicle in Tijuana. It could be hours, and that's time I just unfortunately don't have. So I would walk across a lot, and I'd have to carry all my gear. Not everything, but a lot of big, heavy stuff. And, it was tiring after a while, but I've been to Mexico a million times. I went to school in Ensenada for a while, and obviously have a lot of relatives down there. So going to Tijuana and anything wasn't really the problem. It was just the time and the effort to get to the rehearsal spaces and whatnot. Once I got a Century Pass, though, I just drive back and forth like nothing. It is a huge amount of traveling time, but when you love something and you're really passionate about it, you never complain. I never complain about going back and forth. I frankly love it. I love Mexico, and it's really cool to go practice in another country, whenever you want. Not a lot of people can say that.
As a lyric memory, there with Thanatology, you don't have like that problem.
Right now, currently, no. Lurid Memories, it's currently on a small hiatus while all the members kind of do their own thing, live life a little bit. We all got kind of trapped in the rat race of life, and we needed time to get our stuff together. But, I mean, at the end of the year, Lurid Memory will get back together to at least record an album and maybe play a few shows, but right now, Thanatology is my number one priority when it comes to my time. I do sacrifice a little bit of that time of me writing my own music, but now me and Mario, Dr. Mosqueda, are writing as well, so I get a little bit of my creative energy out that way. And I also have another project named Defiction. It's like a kind of a technical, brutal take on the old Swedish death metal kind of sound. I do strictly vocals for that, and that's also an awesome way for me to get my creative energy out as well. So, like I said, it's complicated, but I make it work because I love music above most things, so it's not a big deal.
Nice. And how hard has been for you, like, being with all these Mexican crazy doctors and being with all of them, and all of them speak in English, or it's been difficult for you and you have interaction with the fans?
Well, in the band, mostly everyone speaks English pretty well, and the few who don't speak English super well try really hard, and I really appreciate it because it's difficult for me. Even though I used to know how to speak Spanish when I was a young kid and I went to school in Ensenada, but when I returned to the United States, I kind of forgot it all. I still can understand. I can understand a lot of Spanish, but my confidence to speak Spanish is what gets in the way. So it makes it difficult, especially when I'm with the fans. I really don't want the people in Mexico to think that I'm cold or I don't want to talk to them. Because I love them all. I love everyone I met, and I wish I could communicate with them better just to let them know how much I appreciate them and how much we appreciate them. Because Mexican fans are like the best in the world. They treated us so good, and even though I'm Mexican American and I barely speak any Spanish, I got treated like I was a brother when I went to any city. The guys from some bands in Aguascalientes, In Depth, those guys were so nice to me and super cool and tried their hardest to speak English to me. And when someone from another country tries to speak your language when you're in their country, oh man, it is such like a humbling feeling. I appreciate it so much because it takes some stress off of me, because I feel bad that I can't, that I'm not pulling my weight in that sense. So it's a little difficult, I would say.
But you can practice some words, some bad words, at least.
Yeah. Well, definitely the guys in the band have taught me a lot of bad words. I think half of the tour was Dr. Mosqueda teaching me as many fucked up Spanish phrases as possible. not just teaching them to me, but making sure that I was pronouncing them perfectly.
Oh, okay.
He was really doing it. And what's also helping, very strangely, is I got added by a lot of Mexican fans on social media after the tour, and so I have a lot of Mexican verbiage showing up on newsfeed. So I see memes in Spanish like all day, and it's definitely like teaching me a lot of Spanish, trying to decipher the memes and like posting them and laughing and stuff. So, there's weird ways, but I'm learning.
Nice. And now you guys are just like moving. Yes, you're going to Aguascalientes, Durango, in Mexico City. You guys are promoting a new release album, Un Legado de Negligencia Medica. How was the making process of this album, talking about lyrics, composition, and art cover?
Well, like I said, I came in at the very end of the process of the album. I knew that this was the first time Dr. Mosqueda had taken over chief songwriting duties for the entire album. And then, from my understanding, is it was a lot of back and forth between Dr. Bautista and Dr. Mosqueda about how the riff should sound, where to take influence from, how the drum should sound. The basic songwriting, song progressions, and the overall just construction of the theme from beginning to end. It was a lot of back and forth between them. When it was finished, Dr. Mosqueda and then Dr. Bautista asked me to record some leads for a few of the songs. Originally, Ironia y Cocaína had a solo at the beginning, so I recorded one there, and then I recorded two in the Latex song. But we only ended up keeping the Latex solos. The one in Ironia actually worked better with vocals at the beginning, so we cut that. I just recorded some leads, and after the fact, that was it. I mean, Jonas is a mastermind and a genius when it comes to the concepts of this band, so he had the lyrics and the concepts finished way before the album was done, I think, and he just designed the costumes and everything, and so he has all that on lockdown. The artist who did the album cover, Garo Martinez, took some direction from Jonas, but did a really awesome job of coming up with a cool, kind of original piece for it.
And how you guys decide like the outfit? Because I have seen during the past releases, like Thanatology has like all this history in outfits, like changing them and getting them better, looking better. So how do you guys decide the new design? Or
the new designs are chiefly chosen by Jonas. To get his true intentions, you might have to talk to him, but I think I believe this release and the next one are supposed to be slightly polar opposites of each other. So this release, for instance, the colors are really bright, really red, really in your face and intimidating, and it's a very bright interpretation of what his image is in the band. So the next release, for instance, is going to be something more laid back, but more brutal in that sense. It really all just ties into the overall concepts Jonas has chosen. So, one day we'll get him on the horn and we'll shake it out of him as to why he wanted these particular red ones. But
yes, he will need to be in the chat room to tell us.
Yes.
to explain us his ideas, please.
Yes.
So we already mentioned a little bit about your tour in Mexico and how are the fans interacting with all of you guys. But for the people that doesn't know too much about the band has been remain off stage some time ago, and recently Thanatology started to tour in Mexico and the United States. So how is the acceptance of the Mexican and American metalheads?
Um, well, as far as the Mexican and American fans go, they have reacted much differently from each other, I believe. However, both audience really seem to approve of the Thanatology mission. During our tour in Mexico, for instance, we had really wild reactions. The people seem to really enjoy the performances a lot. In Durango, people were flying around and moshing like crazy. We signed like a lot of stuff, such as like I think Dr. Morales and Dr. Murillo signed like jackets and cell phones and stuff, and I was signing random scraps of paper. It was super humbling experience because everyone was just really happy, and they treated us so well while we were in that city. It was just mind blowing to see such I guess you could say fanaticism for the band. It was really, really cool and something I just wasn't expecting, I guess. It was the same thing when we went to a lot of cities, Aguascalientes as well. It was a really good show, and the bands that performed with us were amazing human beings, and they went crazy when we played, and it was just awesome. I mean, Mexico City was another huge highlight, especially at the El Chopo, to see people come by just to see Thanatology and take pictures and support us with merchandise purchases and whatnot. It was just really cool. The Mexican fans were very outward with their love. The American fans, I think, they were a little different in that sense. In the United States, I feel in the shows I've played here, we've gotten a little bit more of the stand and observe crowd, which is pretty common in the U.S., I think. We definitely got a good amount of, moshing and movement in our shows, but a lot more in Mexico than the U.S. I believe that's the only reason that is, though, is because the U.S. audiences, they might not be expecting what they're about to see, I guess. Not that I'm talking ourselves up, but just because, our presentation is rather unique compared to a lot of death grind bands. So I think people just kind of stand there, take it in, but afterwards we always, get a ton of love on, in person, especially on social media. Like our recent festival appearance at the Bay Area Death Fest got us a lot of love on the social media sites. And a lot of support financially as well, which is super important for a growing band. We love and appreciate our United States fans a lot, so hopefully next time we play for them, they'll be more familiar with us and let loose.
Now that you guys have all this promotion and all this recognition in the metal scene, have you ever imagined playing in Obscene Extreme?
Well, my whole goal when I started teaching myself guitar was to go play in Europe. And obviously I would have settled for absolutely any show in Europe. Even if 5 people showed up, I would have looked at it as a huge accomplishment. But the fact that our first trip to Europe, all of us, is going to be on Obscene Extreme is frankly fucking crazy. I can't even see it as reality quite yet. It still seems like a very abstract concept that's just it just seems like a dream. We're really excited, all of us. We're literally 1 month away from being on stage, and I'm really excited that we were able to live one of our biggest dreams, and especially with these gentlemen, I'm really proud of everyone in the band as individuals, as musicians, and as really close friends. We've all worked really hard and dedicated a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort. We sacrifice relationships, we sacrifice family time just for music. So Obscene Extreme for us is kind of like a trophy, like a pat on the back, you know. We finally fucking did it, you know, so it's really cool for us.
I'm very happy to see more Mexican bands out there. You know, Obscene Extreme is a great stage to be. A lot of big bands are in there, and also like meeting all the people. I think you guys will just make and destroy the stage in there.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's our goal. I mean, I've always told this to my bandmates. You know, regardless of who we're playing with, whether they're our friends or anything, my number one goal on stage is to destroy everything and everybody. So that's our goal when we get to Obscene Extreme. We want to leave everyone with their jaws dropped. So I hope that we're able to achieve our mission if possible.
Yeah, you will do it. So
thank you.
You guys are promoting a new release video, Ironía y Cocaína. Tell us a little bit about the making process of this video and how was working this with Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation.
So the music video was pretty straightforward. Actually, we had recorded it in the same spot as we had recorded the Latex video. So. You know, it was just basically just a straight performance, and then you know, it got edited and presented extremely well afterwards. So we were really cool and happy with the results. You know, Travis, you know, kind of came into it during this time on a management standpoint. Him and I go back a little while because he was involved in Lord Memory. He did some guest vocals for us, and he was sort of my mentor for the music business in general. He was helping us the best that he could while Lord Memory was active, and he also has a very close relationship with Dr. Bautista. So when I joined Thanatology, Travis started really getting involved with the band in management, along with another manager. His name is Jim Mills. He was a former manager for Cattle Decapitation and a good friend. You know, I would consider Travis to be one of my best buddies, and I don't really see him like a lot of people do. I know people are crazy fanatics of him and that band, but I mean, you know, I go over to his house and I hang out with his dog, and you know, watch him play Call of Duty, and we eat pizza, and it's like a pretty normal friendship. But he knows what he's doing. Obviously, we have a lot of fun. We're very productive. And he has a huge heart for the people he believes in and stands by his word 100%. So working with Travis is very easy because he's very honest and very straightforward and really knows his stuff.
Nice. Probably you're going to feel a little bit of hate from our listeners to have like that close relationship with Travis.
Yeah, he's just a normal dude like us, so you know. So yeah.
So about these videos, I have noticed that in the two videos, Ironía y Cocaína and El Amor Va de la Mano de Látex, have the same background. Where these videos were taken?
This was, I believe, taken in the Cultural Arts Center in Tijuana. The reason I believe that's what it's called is because the name's in Spanish, and obviously I can't remember hardly anything in Spanish, so I'm sure that's the rough translation of it. You know, it happened in a really pretty awesome downstairs kind of basement area of this, you know, kind of like art center in Tijuana, and it was you know, I'm assuming Jonas kind of wanted to tie the whole album together because obviously it's a concept album, so recording a video in the same place kind of made sense for the logic and the timeline of the release itself. So that's where we ended up doing it. It was a really long and grueling process to do it, but we're obviously extremely stoked with the results. I was really happy with the music videos.
Yeah, definitely all of you guys go and check out these videos. They're really cool for the music.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, Jonas, like I said, Jonas his execution with the artistic concepts in this form is really, really good. He found gold when he created these ideas. So hats off to Dr. Bautista. He's really created something awesome, and we're happy to, be the characters in his drama in a sense.
Mm-hmm. So, many Mexican bands write their songs in English just to reach all audiences. And why Thanatology keeps the lyrics in Spanish?
I that's another question for Dr. Bautista, I believe. However, I'll give you my opinion on it, and I think that the general opinion is that writing your songs in Spanish, it has a specific feel to it. It sounds really menacing. Like the lyrics sound menacing and way more morbid, I think, in Spanish than they do in English. And it's also to set ourselves apart, like you mentioned. A lot of bands all over the world will write their lyrics in English for accessibility, and I think that's I get it. I understand bands want to be accessible and they want to break the ice with as many people as they can. However, it's more true to yourself if you kind of do it in your own language. And I think it's a brilliant move to keep doing everything in Spanish. That's our goal, and I don't think we're ever gonna release any songs like that have English lyrics. It just seems like it's the right thing to do for the band.
What will come next for Thanatology after the tour dates in the United States and Europe?
I believe Thanatology show-wise, we have like you said, Obscene Extreme. We have a show coming up in Los Angeles that I can't quite announce yet, but it's going to be with a really well-known old school band if it does happen. So keep an ear out for that. It'll be happening in the next few months if it does go down. I think September or something. And then we have a Tijuana show on the 4th of August, I believe. Which I'm really looking forward to because I actually have not played a Tijuana show with Thanatology quite yet. So a lot of fans have been asking for that, so we're going to give them what they want. And then also, of course, one of the big ones is Chicago Domination Fest. It's going to be super awesome out in the Midwest. A lot of really, really good brutal bands are going to be playing that, so people in the Midwest will get a nice taste of the Thanatology music. And then, of course, aside from the shows, Dr. Mosqueda and I have started writing a new. We have a few songs that we've tackled. We have a lot of really cool ambient pieces and intros and outros we've been working on. We really want to make this like a storybook in a sense when you listen to it. So the new Thanatology should sound really brutal, really cool, and definitely still have that awesome Thanatology feel.
Just to end this interview, where the fans can follow Thanatology and buy your merchandise?
So for merchandise, you can contact us, or you can actually just go to the thanatology.bandcamp.com. Right now we have all of our physical releases there, and you can also buy digital versions of those if that's what you're into. You can also hit us up on the Facebook, which is facebook.com/Thanatology Semifo, and same thing with the Instagram, Thanatology Semifo. That's our handle for that, so you can follow us, get a ton of news and whatnot regarding the band, and just kind of see how we're doing things. Definitely a lot of insider stuff there, so go ahead and check it out if you can.
Okay. So, Oscar, thank you so much for taking the time in here in Metal Messiah Radio, and I really, really wish you the best of the best vibes in Europe and in Chicago. So I hope to see you pretty soon here in Saltillo, Mexico.
Yes, definitely. On behalf of all the doctors, we appreciate you, and thank you very much for your time and your efforts.